The Harkleverse is crumbling down. Can you hear the echoes over the ocean? The Harkleverse is falling down, my spare Harry. Boo-hoo. It's all falling apart, isn't it? According to a tittle-tattler at Netflix. She can flick that net as much as she wishes, but it won't bring her much joy. Keep flicking it, my dear, keep flicking that net. There are those who drank the Kool-Aid a few years ago, as we all witnessed, but they are not, it seems, sipping on Meghan's rosé. No. Those Kool-Aid days are over, my dear. That rosé wine has fermented in the vineyards of the American Riviera orchard. Oh, of course, I forgot that doesn't exist anymore because it was a pant idea that was struck off. Another one of her calamities. Yes, this insider, this Netflix snitch, told the press that the wine isn't selling. Just as we suspected. There's no great demand whatsoever. There isn't a demand for her wine from a mass market point of view, and so a larger or more lucrative deal with a supermarket or department store is unlikely. Aren't you devastated for her, my dears? Absolutely devastated. Well, you can be on the lookout for all kinds of mischief now, because the gloves are going to be coming off, even more than they already were. And you'll see those talons on full display because the coffers in Montecito must be replenished. At all costs, they've got security to arrange, and jets to run, and celebrity friends to have over for cherry pie. So the coffers need replenishing, and the only thing they can truly sell, because they've already sold their dignity, long time ago, the only thing they can truly sell is scandal and drama, and the only thing they can truly merch is mischief. The only thing they can truly monetize is mayhem, because you've got to understand, when a duchess, a royal duchess, no less, resorts to twerking while in labour with a royal prince and the grandson of a king in order to hustle her bustle, then you know that they're in deep doggy doo-doos. And make no mistake about it. This Netflix mole has described the whole affair as another nail in the coffin for the rumoured $100 deal, and it has not been a great success. Well, surprise, surprise. Oh, Mr. Mulringer, it's me, the Duchess of Sussex, the great and grand and humble Mademoiselle. You might remember me. Not Meg Markle? Yeah. You did such a job, such a great job, Mr. Mulringer, with H's memoir, Spare Part, that I've baked some cookies in advance of your coming, your second summer in our beautiful home here at Sussex and Palace. And we can work on my book now. I think it's time. I truly do. And I have a title for my tome. My long-awaited memoir that will sell a gazillion. I have a title. Queen. This insider said that Meghan had everything going for her initially, but the viewing figures for With Love were dismal. And no more shows will be made. I bet you're devastated, aren't you? We've discussed how, as ever, made number 383, or whatever it was, in the recent Netflix chart. And Harry's polo trotted in at number, get this, 3,436 out of 7,000 shows. And that was only watched by 500,000. Absolutely pathetic. And it's said that the 5-year deal ends this September. Of course, these deals can be restructured, as we may well see. But this time around, the deal would no doubt be much more in Netflix's hand and to their favour if it wasn't already before, but would benefit the Harkles in a minor way, or so they might see it, by keeping their name in the headlines and giving them what looks ostensibly like some sort of career or a job, although we can see through all of that sophistry. And the negative publicity cannot behoove either party. There's new popcorn to munch in the cinemas and movie theatres. They are no longer the hot tamale. This mole, the insider at Netflix, said that the rosé wine only sold out because it was a small batch. Meghan hasn't posted on her socials for nearly a month. The issue is that there's no consistency and people are bored with them. Many stars go silent and in the background are building their brand and equity, but it feels like Harry and Meghan are losing their way even more. The Netflix deal not being renewed will have a big impact on them as they are running out of options of who will work with them and reap in the future. Well, let's face it, my dears, it was a cash grab for both of them, wasn't it? For the Harkles and Netflix. Let's not make any bones about that. It was a cash grab that was all about the expose, the tell-all docu-series for Judas Coins. And that was everything, if you think about it, that the Harkles claim they stand against. Violation of privacy, family betrayal, indiscretion, vulgarity and lies. It was all there for you, on parade. But, of course, the world was watching. The world was watching, and they got wise too, my dears, long after we all did, didn't they? It didn't escape us, and it didn't escape the rest of the world. And the whole tying in of the As Ever brand with the With Love Meghan show sounds like a complete and utter headache for Netflix behind the scenes. A headache, a hangover, and the walk of shame after a tawdry one-night stand. Oh, those were the days. Welcome to the River broadcast. Well, my dear old fruits, welcome to the show, and I think I need to say happy birthday to Prince George, because it was his day this week, wasn't it? So happy birthday, Prince George. There was a photograph taken by Josh Shinner, and there was a montage. 12 years old, born on July the 22nd, 2013, and a Cancerian, of course, the same as Diana and William and Camilla and myself. That explains the sensitivity, of course, that we see in George. He's very close to Leo. In fact, the sun entered Leo just a few hours after he was born. He's just a few hours shy of Leo, so very close to it, but most certainly and definitely a sensitive Cancerian. And I will admit that I had some reservations about George because I'm very biased. And I would have preferred to have a queen on the way. Yes, I would have preferred the excitement of another queen. Absolutely, that's just my way, my dear. We've got two guys, one in position at the moment, then William. I would have liked to have had a gal coming up for the future, but actually it was George's talent in art that really impressed me. It's such a keen eye at such a tender age, We've seen things he put together for Christmas and a drawing of his mother, and that reassured me what a deeply intelligent and wise mind is being cultivated. Yeah, it was quite a revelation. And as my birthday week draws to a close, I must thank my Fruit Basketeers for the thousands of well wishes from all of you, the goodwill and the compliments, generous compliments. I took time actually this week to read through every single comment on the previous couple of videos. I thought there was a spider on my leg then. I've got a few spiders running around this place at the moment, coming through the floorboards. It's a bit discombobulated, to be honest with you. But where was I? Oh, yeah. Yes, it's very hard to keep up with the thousands of comments that come in, but I made sure to read through every single comment on the last couple of videos. So just know that just because I can't reply to everyone, I can't acknowledge every very, very sweet comment, it doesn't mean that I don't wish that I could do so. I really do. There's just not enough hours in the day. But I appreciate your attention. And I appreciated some tip jar treats that were received for my birthday. That's also so kind of you. And just very briefly, I did get a few kind inquiries, as I always do, of why there's no super thanks option shown on my comment section. It's because, firstly, I find it vulgar to have a thanks button with a dollar sign on it every time. So I don't put it on. And also it's that so many viewers don't seem to realise that 30% of a super thanks donation goes to Google. If you're comfortable with that and you wish to treat me, then go for your life, my dear, because I'm putting it on very temporarily for those of you who don't like to use PayPal. But thank you for asking. It's very much appreciated. It's the vulgarity of having it on show all the time that I don't especially like. But I'm continually bowled over by your sweetness and your kindness in many ways here on the broadcast. You're all so wonderful, the vast majority. Now on to more royal business here, because next year and I've got something special to show you as well, some ephemera. Next year marks the centenary of the late Queen's birth. Yeah, I always thought that the late Queen would live to meet that centenary, didn't you? The Queen Mother, of course, the late Queen Mother, lived to 101 years old, and Elizabeth was always in such robust and rude health, wasn't she, until the last couple of years. Well, when I began the broadcast, I never actually imagined that Her late Majesty's death would come so soon, if ever. That was a huge shock, and I never thought that we would be navigating it together as we did, with such a monumental change that it brought, and the accession of a king. Wasn't that wonderful and extraordinary? And only fate knows when we will navigate the next. Now, Buckingham Palace are marking the occasion by staging the largest ever exhibition of Elizabeth's apparel. Queen Elizabeth II, Her Life in Style, charts the story of Britain's longest reigning monarch through 200 items, half of them on display for the first time. And this will be a great opportunity for you to see some of these star attractions, including the wedding dress from 1947 and the 1953 coronation gown, both of which were designed, of course, by the late and great Norman Hartnell, and his name is whispered in hushed tones due to so much admiration for the beauty he was able to cobble together. And I wanted to show you a letter here from Norman Hartnell himself, for those who enjoy looking through some of my items of vintage ephemera. There it is. This came down to me from the Lascelles family. I think this was addressed to Angie Lascelles. A little notelet of no great consequence, my dear, but just a little point of interest to share with you. And Angela Dowding, as she began her life, was a British actress, and she was the one who married Jerry Lascelles, who was the first cousin of the late Queen Elizabeth, second son of the Earl of Harwood, and Mary Princess Royal, who was the daughter of King George V and Queen Mary. So the Lascelles family have very close connections, and they're very close-knit with the royal family. And I've got lots of correspondence of theirs, actually, which I'll show you another time, perhaps some of it if you're interested in seeing it. But lots has come down from that family to me, and I've also got a letter actually somewhere, I think from the late Queen Mother, who wrote to Gerald somewhere. I've got it somewhere, I'll dig it out for you. In 1977, Hartnell was knighted for services to fashion and was the first couturier to receive such an honour. So on the 12th of January 1977 he wrote, "I am so very grateful for your kind letter of congratulations upon the honour I have just received. I must say it is a wonderful reward for the happy work of my lifetime. It was delightful to hear from you, Angela Lascelles. I note your change of address and hope you are well and happy. Sincerely, Norman Hartnell." And you'll see there at the top of the notelet the two royal warrants on display as dressmaker by royal appointment to the Queen and to the Queen Mother. The address of the Mayfair headquarters of his work and occasionally his home on Bruton Street is shown, together with a 4-digit telephone number. Isn't it so quaint to think of the time when telephone numbers were just 4 digits, and now, goodness knows, 40 probably. But he died a couple of years later after this letter was written, aged 78. That was in 1979. And of course he was famous for dressing everybody from Marlene Dietrich to Vivian Leigh to Liz Taylor, all of them I do. Oh, in 1938 the Countess of Strathmore died, and she was the mother of the late Queen Mother, but at this time in 1938 she was performing in her role as the Queen. And the Countess of Strathmore died 5 days before her daughter's state visit to France with King George VI. And so Hartnell recreated the entire wardrobe in white, which was actually historically a royal mourning colour. And he got that together in just 3 weeks. At this exhibition, you'll also be able to view clothing, jewellery, hats, shoes, accessories and sketches and samples, and for the first time, one of the earliest surviving pieces of couture from the late Queen's childhood wardrobe, a silver lame and tilleul bridesmaid dress worn at age 8 for her uncle, the Duke of Kent's wedding to Princess Marina of Greece. This was very sad news, wasn't it, about the 20-year-old cousin of Prince William and Prince Harry found deceased at home in Wiltshire 2 weeks ago. And I hesitated before bringing this story to you because I find it a little undignified, seeing as they're a private family. There's no great association with the royal family these days, but it has been splashed over every newspaper everywhere, so it's already been done. I'm not really telling tales out of school. She was the granddaughter of the 5th Baron Fermoy, who was the late Diana's uncle, and Rosie had been packing for a summer trip with friends and had been reading English at Durham University and was found by her mother and sister, and a firearm was discovered nearby. I believe that there was a wound to the head which indicated what had happened. And it's oh so sad. All I can do is send my love and very, very best wishes to you, which sounds hopelessly inadequate. The police deemed the death as non-suspicious and there was no third-party involvement. The death notice in the Yorkshire Post said, darling daughter of Hugh and Pippa, incredible sister to Archie and Agatha, granddaughter to Derek and Ray Long, private family funeral and memorial service will be held at a later date. And there's history in the Mirror with a back glance, because actually her grandfather, Baron Fermoy, who was the brother of Diana's mother, Frances, well, he did away with himself in 1984, following a long stint of depression. The annual tradition of Swan Upping has concluded for another year, after recording the census and health of the swan population on the River Thames. The Swan Uppers weigh and measure the cygnets and check them for any sign of injury, and having caught the attention of young passers-by, are always happy to explain their work. Over several hundred years, swan upping has evolved from a ceremonial event to an important element of wildlife conservation. The swan uppers are clad in scarlet, headed by the King's swan marker. Once on the royal menu, swan is no longer eaten, but the King retains the right to claim ownership of any unmarked mute swan swimming in open waters. The King and Queen have been busy bees, this time visiting the National Stud in Newmarket in Suffolk. And didn't the King look adorable with his pink accessories? I really loved it. They met with those who were involved in stud services. Well, we could all do with a decent stud service from time to time, couldn't we, my dears? Oh, yes. Their Majesties inspected educational programmes and charities who were improving access to British horse racing for young people. At King Edward VII's Hall, they met local community groups and businesses. The crowds went wild. There was a flurry of flags and a brass band played, which is always so atmospheric. And they rounded off the day at the Jockey Club, which was founded in 1750. It's the largest employer and commercial organisation in British racing and is one of the leading sports businesses in the kingdom. Their Majesties looked over a painting portraying the late Queen. What do you think of that? What I especially loved was this lady with the Rain Spencer Buffon hairdo. Absolutely gorgeous. I love that sort of candy confection. Actually, it's a little bit like mine today, isn't it? Mrs. Slocum, eat your heart out. But keep your pussy to yourself.
Well, if I'm to spend an evening in this club, there'll have to be accommodation for my pussy.
And their Majesties went on to arrive at the Sandringham Flower Show ahead of a 2-year planned hiatus. There were blooms everywhere. It was gorgeous, and I loved seeing the vegetable show. And I overheard the Queen saying, I'm very proud of my veg. Yes, she loves to grow vegetables in the garden, and the summer fruits, no doubt. Seeing all these summer fetes and summer fairs puts me in mind of all the ones that my family would go to when I was a child. We've been very lazy with that the past few years, and to be quite honest with you, they're not as good as when I was a child. Still lots of fun to be had, but there was something about those childhood days, whether it was at the village hall or you would go to local recreation grounds, manors, in country house gardens, this sort of thing, all sort of fetes and fairs that I've been distracted from the past few years, but I do miss them, along with the harvest festivals where they lay out the produce, like the ones you see here with all the vegetables, all the wares. Gorgeous, gorgeous. There were carousels, and the King and Queen met members of local gardening and horticultural clubs and charity supporters, including members of the Medical Detection Dogs, of which the Queen is patron. And I'll take a comment here from Janie Dillingham, who said, River, you looked beautiful in your lovely gowns. So sexy. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say so. Have you heard of the reports and rumours that Camilla has been frozen out and is no longer allowed to be near Catherine or her children? Catherine is spelt with a C, my dear, not a K. A C. Catherine and her children. Are those rumours true or complete balderdash? There are many tales of Camilla insulting young Prince George as well as Catherine in private, and William stepping in to remove her from appearing at engagements. Are they true? Oh, Janie! Janie, my dear, I don't mean to disparage you. You sound like an absolutely delicious fruit. But Janie Dillingham, what are you watching, and why do you watch it? And I'm picking on you, my dear, but I don't mean to. I'm using you as an example because I get so many similar questions from so many similar people. And it worries me because you're evidently watching and consuming AI-generated content or mischievous clickbait as if you are starved of the substance. And I realise that so much of it is difficult to wade through and separate fact from fiction, but the fact that you're asking me about these things, unless you're asking me in jest, which is fine, indicates to me that you're rather vulnerable, and hundreds of thousands of others are as well, so you're not alone. Lots of people fall for all this kind of crap. But no, the Waleses are not in the habit of freezing anybody out other than the Sussexes, because they deserved it and pushed them to the very limit. And the Waleses get on very well with Camilla, as evidenced during the state visit only a couple of weeks ago, where we saw the curtsies, where we saw the affection, the kiss between William and Camilla with glances that you can't fake, that were perfectly amicable. It's all nonsense, and it seems to do the rounds every few weeks, this kind of thing. All the Queen's grandchildren, including her step-grandchildren, get on very, very well with her. They adore their granny and step-granny. And Catherine herself took photographs, didn't she, in the garden of Ray Mill, Camilla's beloved home, Ray Mill. She was the one that captured some of the best photographs that have ever been taken in the garden there. So they have a cosy relationship, get on very well. You have to understand that there was a time when William might have sympathised with Harry's venomous vendetta and some of the feelings, and it's totally understandable. He adored his late mother. He adored Diana. And obviously there was friction, to put it mildly, between she and Camilla, who is now the Queen. But it only goes to show that William has matured. He is a mature man, and he has been able to deftly show us how he has juggled and managed what are complex emotions, and will always be so. There is always going to be a duality. As much as he gets on with his stepmother very, very well, of course there will always be part of him that reflects on the unfortunate nature and circumstances of the relationship, how it developed, what Diana saw as betrayals, and all this kind of thing. It's incredibly complex, but it's an incredible tribute to William's own journey that he has been able to manage it with total maturity and compartmentalise those difficult, sticky parts of his life into something that is life-enhancing. Do you understand? You're either going to go down a destructive route, not only to others, but to oneself, as we see with Harry. Destructive or life-enhancing. Sometimes it's just a bold choice of two pathways, isn't it? Like in The Wizard of Oz, we've got this, we've got that. Which way are we going to go? You've got scarecrows throwing their arms all over the place, tin men and cowardly lions telling you what to do. And you've got to follow the yellow brick road that leads to the Emerald City, haven't you, my dear? Because there's no place like home. You've got to click your heels 3 times. Oh, good. I actually watched the Wicked movie the other day. Do you know, I'd never seen the musical. I'd never seen the film. I really wish that I'd seen the musical on stage first, because that was raved about so much. But I saw the movie because a friend of mine suggested it, and we watched it together, even though we were in different cities. And we watched it at the same time. We said, press play on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, play. So we kind of watched it together. It was very long, a little bit too long, but actually it was a good movie. It was an enjoyable movie, I've got to say. I'm sure many of you will have seen it. And it has to be said, you know, I'm not really one for the Ariana Grande and the Cynthias of this world, but they were both fantastically cast. Very impressed with that. I mean, for my old soul, not a patch on The Wizard of Oz. I mean, that is a work of utter triumph, even though it was a flop when it was first released. Unbelievably, it was a bit of a flop and a dismal failure. It wasn't received that well. Can you believe it? That's a work of genius. But I was quite impressed, actually. Not so much with the songs, which I don't find memorable at all, but with the overall production and with the acting, and the directing and the casting. Well, I'm going to click my heels together 3 times and get right on out of here and let you get on with your day. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next broadcast. Take care and toodle pip.
My pussy got soaking wet. I had to dry it out in front of the fire before I left.